Hi, welcome to the G2 Gallery podcast. I'm Jared, and today we're talking to our curator and director in everything gallery, Jolene Hanson. How are you?
I'm good, Jared. How are you?
Good. So we're going to talk today about the In Black and White, which is an exhibit we have at our front gallery.
Yeah, In Black and White, it really came together. Originally, I had planned to put together a comparison and contrast of work by Ansel Adams and Clyde Butcher, two artists who we represent. And serendipitously, a few days before we were going to hang that show, Robert Glenn Ketchum, who's a local and has been shooting for many years, dropped off some new work for us to have. And the day we were hanging, opened up that work and saw that the work fit with my idea for the Ansel Adams and Clyde Butcher version of the show.
So how did the idea come about to compare the artists?
Oh, that's a great question. The idea came about as I was going through Clyde Butcher's work when we started our relationship with him, which was, I think, about 2 years ago now. I really was looking at how influenced he was by Ansel. The thing that I didn't realize at that point was that he and Ansel were actually shooting a lot of work at the same time. Ansel was shooting well into the 60s, and so not only was he inspiring, he was also doing it around the same time as Clyde. And that really is where it started. And I thought, well, we have an Ansel Adams collection here. We have 22 prints that we own and have available for purchase here at the gallery. And I want to do more with them. I want to think about outside ways to bring them into what we're doing. And I thought, let's look at these two guys and let's do a little survey. And then literally Robert Glenn Ketchum's work fell into place perfectly.
Yeah, it's really great. His Robert Glenn Ketchum's work, he doesn't shoot a lot of black and white.
He doesn't. It's actually very unusual. He has a portfolio. It's called Winters. The images in it are all from Alaska. They were shot in the 70s. And he put that portfolio together as a whole entity. And there's 20 copies of it. There's 24 prints in the portfolio, and it's all black and white. Yeah. And it is very unusual. Robert Glenn Ketchum is known for shooting chromes or transparencies or slide film, whatever you want to call it. And he's known for his vibrant color. I mean, that is it's his personality, even the vibrant color prints. Some examples of what I did in the show is taking that texture into mind. I am comparing two of Robert's pieces. One is a chute detail, basically of the side of the mountain, and the other one is avalanche lake basin. And I'm comparing those with an image by Ansel taken in 1949, which is called Forest Early Morning, and it was taken at Mount Rainier in Washington. And so obviously both mountains, both wintry, but it's interesting to see how both Ansel and Ketchum, Ketchum took his images in, I believe those were 74 or 79. They have these really interesting angles that are in the images, and they also have the texture. That is one image where the texture on Ansel Adams' end really is in the actual subject matter. So it's of the woods, basically. It's just an image of woods. And there's a lot of texture in there. And then with Ketchum, the texture is in both the grain, as well as with Ketchum's images, it's clearly snowing heavily. And so there's this weird texture that you get from that. So it is neat how they can use things similarly and differently. One of the other comparisons that I made, to me, and I noticed this early on in Ansel's work, is the concept of you should never center your image. That's something I went to photo school. I mean, even when you take just those little courses online, they say to you, don't center your image. You know, it's like the rule of thirds. And we have 4 images up. 2 of them are Ansel Adams. One is his Oak Tree and Snowstorm, which is a very signature image. The other one is Oak Tree Sunset City. And those 2 images have a tree centered. And what was really phenomenal, and what really, to me, was the aha moment when I was opening Robert Glenn Ketchum's work, is he has an image from his wintered portfolio. It's titled Snowfall, and it's a centered tree. And Ketchum has an image which is from the Hudson River area. It's called, oh God, I'm probably going to kill the name, Agamuck Creek, I believe, or Aguamuck Creek, maybe that's it, that the tree is centered.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see how these three photographers broke the same rule and how successful the image is.
Yeah, so let's talk about which each artist contributes to their cause, their environmental cause.
Absolutely. Well, as we know, Ansel Adams was highly influential in everything in the Sierras. He would always say he didn't take these images to use them as propaganda for environmentalism. He took them to just show what the environment can and should look like. But they really did on their own become propaganda. On the other side, Ansel was a very, very strong-willed and opinionated person about what should be done with the environment. He visited Washington oftenly. He was part of the Sierra Club for pretty much most of his entire life. And it was a passion. It was a big piece of who he was. Clyde Butcher, very similar. Clyde lives in Florida. One of his galleries is in the Everglades, and he is very much the same. He has strong opinions. He is not afraid to voice them, and he will move mountains if he has to get them across. And I think that it's that will. There's a huge will. Robert's mission in life is Alaska. He was heavily influential in the Tongass region, which before I met Robert, had no idea is a rainforest in Alaska. We have a rainforest in Alaska, which is now protected. His current work focuses on Bristol Bay and the salmon, which are all challenged by mining interests, and the side effects of those. Mainly the chemicals that will be released into the waterways. And again, Ketchum's another one who will travel where he has to travel to get the message out. And it's something that the three of them have. They all have this drive and this will that is selfless, really. It's about the environment, and they're not afraid to go out and fight for it.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. In Black and White is in our gallery, and please come and see the works of Clyde Butcher, Robert Glenn Ketchum, and